12:34 p.m. 1, 2, 3, 4 on this Saturday, May 3rd, 2025. I got a little bit of a story to tell. It won't be too much longer, and my birth date anniversary will be taking place. That on May 27th, as I was born in 1967. My earliest memories go back to late 1972, 1973. Throughout the 1970s and up until the mid to late 1980s, I was subjected to a lot of religious doctrine or indoctrination through one of our local Baptist churches. This was my introduction into the spirit world. Much of it was because of a faith-based movie that I watched in church, which was called A Thief in the Night. That movie stuck with me for years and years, as it was about the end times and the prophecies thereof. You see, I remember back when I was having experiences and encounters throughout the ages of 6, 7, and 8 years old. Many strange encounters in which there was also certain personal prophecies that came unto me, which basically have become reality, but yet there is still one prophecy that is on hold, I guess. Some of my favorite memories go back to those periods of time as a child. Many strange things. But then, as the years continued forth, and this continued on, it brought about a lot of struggles in my life. So at a very early age, I began my own personal searches into the great unexplained mysteries. Furthermore, it was more of those mysteries nice glitch, surrounding that realm of parapsychology. Okay? Yeah, let's kind of brighten that up. Boom! Right? And it's because I had so many strange experiences and encounters during those young years of mine that I went further down the road in search of these great unexplained mysteries. And another factor behind going down this road is because when I was 6, 7, and 8 years old, I had dreams, out of body experiences, astral projections, which led into night terrors. So once again, as time continued forth, there were, periods of time in my life to where I bounced back and forth with dealing with just, the mundane, everyday realities of life. And then I would have phases to where I would just delve into these great unexplained mysteries. Throughout my lifetime, I knew that I was different. I've never fit in, but I've always fit in. I have been something, I have been nothing, much like the binary code. Much like everything else in existence is something but nothing, and something and nothing. Kind of strange, but it's just one of those things that you have to, uh, yeah, right there. This is what it really, all came to be. But once again, let's go beyond the 1970s and the 1980s to where it was actually the mid 1990s that I have just realized was supposed to have been my actual transformation point. And I'm going to explain why. You see these little books right here? Well, I started to get more into the horoscopes and the zodiac signs and wanting to know more about my secret self and understanding my secret self, but yet I still was far, far away from this understanding. Going through the checkout lines at various stores, you can still find these. Mid 90s, okay, 94, Gemini. 95, Zodiac Guide. Gemini, 96. Gemini, 96. The 1997 Astrology Guide. Through Virginia Slims. And apparently this was the last year that I really focused on this. For you see, the following year, I took on being somewhat a father. But I did as well in 96. No, I'm sorry, it was 89. 1989, I took on the role as being a father. And then again, yeah, in the mid 90s. My bad, I kind of screwed up there. So, anyways, this, just play along with me once again, people. I'm really getting to a point here, okay? So, the mid 90s was when, this kind of information started coming forth, if you will. Well, of course, having a background of this, I'm being told, no, you don't do this. Okay, and furthermore, you do not do this. You do not do this. Right? Well, um, this was unnatural for me, apparently, as I found out during the 1980s when I started giving readings to my neighbors and classmates, which did not last long because, well, those so-called friends, neighbors, schoolmates got a little freaked out when my readings were quite accurate. And I stopped. And I basically stayed away from that for many, many years. This is something that I just never really got into. Okay? Now, once again, we're leading up to something here. Okay? Quite a few years back, while I was in the health industry, working in the health industry for a short period of time, um, I had an acquaintance with a female reflexologist. Okay? And a reflexologist basically is one that deals with pressure points within the hands and feet, which affects other areas of the body. Okay? And so there's a connection there as far as reading palms. Now, I don't know when I got this, and I'm going to have to turn on the light for this one, I believe. Um, Here we go. Electronic palm reader. Okay. Now I don't know how old this is, where I came across it, how I acquired it. And yeah, there is copyright information on here. Electronic palm reader. And this was a punch out thing. Okay? So this was quite a few years back. And why I saved it, I have no idea. But once again, this is just another prop, if you will, that I've been holding on to for many, many years for no reason, but it has now come into play and become useful. Now, I don't know if for any of you, while scrolling through recommended watch list that you may have through this platform, it seems like it's kind of blurred out or something, but anyways, there's quite a few videos out there that go into certain signs on your hands or your palms. Okay? And within your palm of your hand, according to these videos that's been coming out, you can have both hands together, and well, this is for basically identification of the so-called chosen ones of this time period. Boy, this is just not wanting to stay on focus. There we go. And so we have Mount of the Moon that you see right down here. Now up in this area where you see the reflection of the light going back and forth. Okay, there's videos out there now that is speaking on the crescent moon of your palm. Okay, and actually, and it's both of your palms. Now let's see if I can kind of recreate what they are speaking on. Okay. Alright, so anyways, I'm going to try to do this best that I can, and I might have to turn that off, I don't know, but here's my hands, and you see this line here, and then this line here. You put those together, and you have a crescent, okay, which basically is like that of the crescent moon. Alright, this is known as the crescent in your hand. Now then, there's also this indication of being a chosen one through the letter M in the palm of your right hand. Okay? See, I have a couple of them. Okay, now this is where it gets even stranger. Is if you were to actually really study my hand, I actually have a pentagram in the palm of my hand here. And even more so, let's try this. Wow, look, the fatty cells coming out. And yeah. Even more so, if you look right here. What do we have right here? I have a nice little X. Okay. So, basically what I am getting at is the factor that according to all these signs and indicators and so on and so forth, that I am so-called a chosen one. Okay, and which I have brought a lot of information to the table pertaining to, you know, the spirit world. And of course, with this right here being religious, they're speaking more of demons and so on and so forth, because this is, yeah, this is religious. But through my time on this platform, and with some of the videos that has been recommended, well, there's not just, okay, as you will see in the next clip, I accidentally had ended that recording, but that's okay. Just please try to remember where we left off, because I real quick want to go back to the 1990s, the mid 90s, and further explanation as to, you know, what came forth that also added to my little searching, if you will, because there was certain TV programs that came out in the mid 90s, and I've made mention of them before, such as the X-Files, and I can't find my prop for Stargate SG-1, but they were big influence factors into, once again, the realm of the unexplained, okay? And so what I was getting at was during the mid 90s, that was supposed to be the pivoting point of where I was to make a choice, okay, to go with that so-called spirit world of spirituality, or go with this, okay? And so all these years later, it has finally come about to where, you know, everything is coming together for this. Now let's go ahead and continue on, and I'm sorry for this interruption. And there's only 7 more minutes to go, so please bear with me, and we'll continue on. And I'm sorry about that, I accidentally ended that recording, but continuing on. Okay, so tarot card readings. Yeah, I watch them off and on. There's a continuous storyline and whatnot. But because of watching that kind of content, there's other kind of content that comes forth that also embodies that factor of being a so-called chosen one and so on and so forth. And one of those past sources that I've provided a link to was A Man Walks Alone, or something along that lines. The Man That Walks Alone by Alan Watts. I did not realize this. This is crazy, people, because this is something that I did not realize that I had in my library. There's this book here. It's called Cloud Hidden, Whereabouts Unknown, a Mountain Journal by Alan Watts. I don't think I've ever read this. I believe it's time for me to do so. um, things are always coming to me for certain reasons. And this is why, I had thoughts of bringing out a different channel of how to read cards through, an ordinary deck of playing cards. But this now, with the palms, and what I'm seeing in my palms, and what I show hidden in the clouds. Oh, yeah. Um, and something else that I did not realize was I also have this right here, and which I just read it. And I'll stick with the clouds. um, yeah, I don't know where I'm going with all of this other than the factor that uh, my life is strange. It's always been strange, and I'm just passing along, sharing more of that strangeness with you. Something came about to where, well, I had all these little books within this envelope here, and which I do have other contents in it, which is all religious pamphlets. Okay. Yeah. Kind of strange to have all this information in one envelope together, and then to all of a sudden have a realization of this. Well, I've been wanting to do a little bit of digital detoxification, right, and staying away from this pathetic platform for a little bit and whatnot, and now I have myself a good reason to do so. And I guess that's where it all has led into. This was a shock. And once again, it is something that I've had forever. I don't even know where I got this book. I've never paid any attention, no mind whatsoever. It's one of those few books in my library that I have not actually read. It's got a message there somewhere within this book meant for me. So this is just more examples, I guess, of how this process works and how I want to try to stick to this rather than, you know, today's version of this, which I feel would be artificial intelligence and anything generated through artificial intelligence, especially within that of the spirit world. Because we have to discern whether we want real enlightenment or go through those hidden dangers of something very artificial. Personally, I think that's what I've been trying to do, is provide enlightenment towards the hidden dangers of the spirit world that's coming. Things are hidden in the clouds, and I've been showing that in my recordings, my sky observation recordings. What else can I say? It's all connected, right? All right, that's enough. Have a great one.